You're going to love this. Trust me, what you're seeing now is my normal state.
Welcome, I'm Spaghetti King, and for this time I'm here for a brief discussion on basically just a topic that was coming to my mind as of late. And pretty much what it was is, what is classic Touhou? That's pretty much what was on my mind. What was classic Touhou? What do we define as classic? And it's something I don't really hear brought up that much, because I feel like for a lot of Touhou fans, we feel like Touhou has always been classic in a certain sense. Most people will usually just segregate two categories. They will just go Piece 98, it's firm camp, it's firm definition, and then Windows. And then they leave it at that. And if you want to just leave it at those two categorizations, you can. I would understand why you would. Of course, we are coming up. I mean, I don't remember if we're exactly at the anniversary of USD yet, but we're in that year, okay? Like, we're, like, pretty much on the tippity top, like, around that area. So, it's been almost 20 years since the Windows era began, right? And with that in mind, I was thinking to myself, is the Windows era in its totality modern Touhou? Or is it also classic Touhou? Or is there something in between? Is there some specific period where we can say classic ended and modern began? So I thought about this myself, and I've come to my position on it. I've come to my kind of feeling on it, where this is where I'm comfortable with. But I'll go over the perspective. So, with what you count as modern, and what you count as classic, let's keep in mind that, like, by the time most people, I would say probably Touhou began getting popular, you could say, I guess, around like 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010. It was kind of just going. Probably accelerating more than it is booming now. It's still growing now, but there were just so much more games coming out within that time frame. And you were sometimes getting multiple games per year then, so the growth back then in terms of the games and in terms of the audience was very significant back then, and I think a lot of people know that with the kind of Touhou association with that time, 2008, 2010, 2011, whatever. And to this day, you'll find plenty of Touhou videos, which have aged like gold, by the way, which are from that exact period. And, it's like, you feel right at home. And I'm not here to necessarily explain why all that happened, but I'm here to, ponder. If that is classic Touhou, then what is modern Touhou? Where do we draw the line? And here are pretty much the boundaries that I have thought for where you could draw the line. The first is, you could say that both classic and modern are both kind of in Windows Touhou. So since the Windows era, we've just been in Touhou, and it's just Touhou, and Touhou will always be Touhou. And if you want to stay with that, then I wouldn't necessarily disagree, but, that would eliminate the point of this video if I completely agree with that. So let's go further. It definitely wouldn't be, even like when we got Immaterial Missing Power, because, yeah, that was like really the first, I guess you would say, Touhou collab game? Although Zune, like, collabed with Seiho and stuff, at least for the music, and he had Touhou characters in it, but he didn't make the game, so you got Seiho a little bit before USD came out, and then the Seiho, when did I think it was 2004, the third Seiho game came out, I believe. So, I mean, that would have been around Imperishable Night coming out around there, so, and then they had that, like, later release that was in, like, 2008 or whatever, and that later release is, like, a totally different game. And then there's what is it? Super Mate Laser? Super Mate Laser, which is its whole other legend, if you haven't heard about that. Do look it up, it's actually really interesting, but, you know, at this time, I don't think we would fit any of this into the definition of, if we're segregating modern classic, I don't think, like, definitely not USD. PCB, no. Immaterial, not really, even though it's like a collab, still no. I mean, that's classic. Is Suika like a modern Touhou character, or is Suika like a classic Touhou character? Imperishable Night, I mean, I think Imperishable Night is one of the definitions of classic Touhou, if you will. I mean, the game even has bloody a remix of, you know, Marissa's boss theme from Touhou 2, and then Reimu's boss theme from Touhou 4, etc., so it like harkens back to those games. It's kind of similar to Lotus Land Story in that way. So the idea that Imperishable Night, I don't think we're getting into there. Now, Phantasmagoria of Flower View, same kind of thing. It is a revamp of Phantasmagoria of Dim Dream. So again, still kind of in that old school era. You even have Yuka coming in, and Reimu references the fact that she knows Yuka, you know, in that game. She says, I've defeated you before in that game. So, no. I just don't have the feeling. So now we're getting to Touhou 10, 10.5, and if you want to consider this modern, I think, you know, this is where you start to get a more of a, maybe a reasonable standard. You know, we get Sane, we get Suiko, you know. I think, you know, if you want to say, oh, Sane is like the benchmark, Sane is the benchmark for modern Touhou, I think you're getting somewhere. I think you could say that, you know, if you want to. I mean, like Scarlet Weather Rhapsody, like Tenchi. You know, at that point, I am thinking to myself, I think we're getting there. Like, I think we're getting there. Like, it's part of it, like, for me, part of the reason why I would not put in Mountain of Faith, Scarlet Weather Rhapsody, maybe a bit more debatable, but Mountain of Faith specifically, it's kind of because, like, for me, the song which defines, like, classic Windows era for me is the Gensokyo the Gods Loved, the Mountain of Faith Stage 3 theme, Nitori's Stage 3 theme. I love that theme. I love that theme so much. But for me, it's like, when I think Windows era, classic Windows era Touhou, that's what I think. I know probably for a lot of other people, it would be like something from USD, or maybe something from PCB or something. I would understand that. But for me, like, when I think classic Windows era Touhou, like, yeah, that's what I think. That's what comes into my mind. So I'm like, yeah. But the thing is, again, we're kind of, you know, going. Like, yeah, we're going. You know, I mean, I could mention, like, Silent Sinner and stuff like that. We're getting mangas and stuff like that, but that was happening around this time, so we're getting there. But for me, I think, you know, I think Mountain of Faith, I think I'll count that as classic for me. Scarlet Weather Rhapsody, I would say that's your first more reasonable claim. You know, like, because if you guys like, is Tenchi a classic Touhou character? Is Tenchi a modern Touhou character? You know, that's, you know, that one is more up for debate. I mean, it's at this point, though, pretty much, that this whole rise of Touhou on various sites and stuff like that was happening around this time. So at this time that I kind of mentioned is when a character like Tenchi would be new, and then, you know, going into subterranean animism. This is when Koichi Komeiji, Satori Komeiji, Utsuo Ryuji, you know, that's when these characters would also have been new at that time. Like, we're getting into that period. So, for me, I think subterranean animism is this border point. For me, I think the border point between classic Touhou and modern Touhou is Touhou 11. For a couple reasons. Number one is the context of the way people reference characters. I should say the fans reference characters. Like, for example, is Utsuo Ryuji a classic Touhou character? I think Utsuo Ryuji is associated with a lot of things that I would consider classic myself. Like, I've seen Utsuryuji in various like brawl memes, for example, with her theme going on, and it's like nah, nah, da, na, 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 and I'm like, yeah, you know, I've seen literally like brawl like music video things, and it has, it's got that theme playing, and I'm like, yeah, you know. So for me, if it has Super Smash Bros. Brawl associated with it, it has to be classic. Like, there's nothing, you know, it has to be. So. Call that bias, if you will, but, you know, and, you know, Koishi. Koishi is becoming more prominent now. I've said this before, all you Yomu fans, you know, we have two rising stars that I'm seeing at the moment, Kogasa and Koishi. I'm calling this right now, okay? This Yomu dominance, all you Yomu people, like, look, Yomu, it's okay, it's okay. Yuyuko, a lot better than Yomu, if you ask me, but, like, whatever. You know, it's okay that you Yomu fans are going around, you know, yes, you know, you're taking your thrones from the vampires at this point, you know. No offense to the Yomu fans, but I don't know what it is. You know, some people were calling it election fraud, whatever it is, but, you know, this Yomu popularity is reaching its peaks, and I don't know, I mean, you know. Not as ballsy as the Sakia fans, but like it's okay, boys. I mean, you know, for the most part, the Yomu fans, you know, a more chill crowd, but they're becoming the silent majority, and I think we need to kind of mix things up. And you know, when I think Koishi, I just don't say to myself, yeah, Koishi modern Touhou. So Koishi, maybe, you know, Koishi Satori. I mean, you know, a lot of times you get like Koishi Satori association with like Revelia Flander or whatever. That's like I don't say that's a growing thing. I mean, you've had fan out of that for a long time, but like, you know, this whole like Koishi Flander thing, which I like because it kind of like contrasts well. Because it's the same thing. It's like the whole older sister, younger sister. You know, they're the younger sisters, but they're like Flander's in like red, and then Koishi is like the green. So it looks good. You know, like it looks good, but at the same time, again, it's like, I feel like Koishi and them are, and Utsuryuji and Orin and all that, I feel like they're associated with the more classic characters in a lot more cases. You know, for the nature of those characters, or for whatever reason, but, you know, I you know, I don't really see, like, I don't know, Satori with, like, Clown Piece or something. Or, you know, whatever. You know, characters from later on. I just don't really see it. So that's my opinion. I think Subterranean Animism is the kind of it was the last classic Touhou game. You know, in my opinion, that's kind of how I view it. Which would mean that I guess UFO would be like the first modern Touhou game in that case, which I agree with. You know, like when I think Kogasa, or I think Byakuren and whatnot, Nue, you know, yeah, I think those characters, and I think for the most part, yeah, modern characters. You know, like, do you see like Byakuren and Patchouli or something like that, or, you know, Kogasa much like the classic characters? Like, I don't even know, like, you know, like, I just don't really as much. And you know, from then on, it goes on, you know, like Double Spoiler and whatnot. I mean, even the artwork as well. You know, you look at, like, Aya in Double Spoiler versus Aya in, like, Phantasmagoria Flower View or Shoot the Bullet or whatnot. The art style is for the most part, you know, in that kind of modern Zoom style. It's not in the classic style that people, like, joke about. Because, like, you know, like, in Bloody Subterranean, you have, like, the Satori smug look. Like, you would not get that today. You would not get that today. You know, so yeah, for me, that's the turning point. I mean, you could go on from there. You go to 13. I mean, I would say probably the latest would be Legacy Kingdom. So Touhou 15. I would say probably that's like, if you want to say the definition between like classic and modern, that's pretty late, because Legacy of Lunatic Kingdom came out in like 2015, you know? So it's like, is that, I mean, I don't know. Like, do you think to yourself, 2015, classic Touhou? I mean, maybe you do. Maybe you do, but I don't. So, That's me. I mean, I think there is sort of a statement for that, because I do know that there are a lot of people who they kind of went to LOL-K, and then that was kind of it for them, you know? Like, they don't really know about much afterwards. So there is kind of an argument for that if you want to have that position, but for me, Subterranean, for me, is the last classic Touhou, and then since then we've been in kind of modern Touhou. And if you want to segregate it further, I guess you could say maybe like 2 LOL-K is its own sort of era, and then to now, like every 5 years you kind of like split it or something. You could kind of do that, these like 5, you know, because like PC 98 is like, what, 95, 96 to like 99, 2000. And Zoom comes back, and then 5 years approximately, and then not really like 5 years to like LOL-K, that's more like 7-ish years, but like approximately to that, and then to now, which is like 7-ish years. I guess you could do like 7? Do it like in 7s? 7 or 5 years? You know, moving around the line, however you define it, you could do that, but however you want to define it. But for me, that's kind of my opinion on it. And the whole reason actually that this came to mind is just simply because I was saying to myself, you know, because I used to kind of have the view that like Phantasmagoria was that. Like I was like, you know, like Phantasmagoria, yeah, like you know, we have Yuka in that one. Never really got that. We got Alice. Do we have? Yeah, we have Alice in that one. I'm not going. Better have Alice in that one. Yeah, we have Alice in that one. Yeah, we have Alice in everything. Alice has to be in that one. I'm kind of forgetting that at the moment. We have to. Alice better be in that one. But you know, she's in PCB and all that. You know, so I was thinking to myself, Phantasmagoria, you know, it's kind of like it's the beginning of the end for like that like Peace 98 connection, in a lot of ways, really. Even in gameplay, you know, like Mountain of Faith, Subterranean, they would change things as well. So you know, if you want to split those, I understand. Like if you had a different take than me, I understand that. But for me, that's kind of as far out as I go, because again, main reason I literally just like listened to the Gensokyo the God to the Left, and I'm just like, look, dude, I can't say this isn't classic Touhou. Like this song is this song is classic Touhou for me. And then also Utsuo's theme as well. That one I gotta say, like, you know. But you do have like Yugi and bloody Subterranean as well, and you know, I mean, the idea of another Oni besides Suika being around is sort of, you could say that's not classic, but again, this is the edge, okay? This is the edge line. This is where, you know, it's going. So that's my opinion, and this video was way longer than it needed to be. I was planning on making this like a 5-minute video, but I can't help my autism. I'm sorry. You got me going, and I was like going on about Touhou, and I became so happy because I love Touhou. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I can't help myself. I'm going to talk about Naruto. Okay, next video I'm doing is Naruto. That means like I'm not talking about when I'm uploading it, although it probably will be when I upload it. But it's going to be about Naruto. You know, Naruto. Hello, I'm here to talk about Naruto. I'm here to talk about the plot inconsistencies and why Naruto is a flawed story, but ultimately worth the endearment and the sales back in the day and its cultural impact. And give me Touhou, give me Project Shrine Maiden, give me Zoom, give me the girls of Gensokyo. Give me the real stuff. That's right. That's right. Yeah, you know, all this garbage. All this garbage compared to bloody the Touhou project. Yes, dude. Let me go. Okay. Well, okay. Let me take a bloody breather. But that was all for this one. So, way too long to explain all that, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway. So, with that said, I'm Spaghetti King. Love you all. Thanks for watching, and farewell.